like to talk to you today about a person by the name of Harry Markowitz, who in the 1950s wrote a doctoral thesis for his graduate degree that led to his receiving the 1990 Nobel Prize in Economics. What he came up with is what we call the Markowitz efficiency frontier. It's a way to show how to maximize return and for the certain level of risk. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. Frontier. Now, the way I understand it is that it's a way to maximize putting together a portfolio of various asset classes in order to maximize the risk for a certain level of return. Or looking at it the other way, how can I get a minimum amount of risk with a higher rate of return? So we can go look at it either way. But what he came up with is the mathematics to find out where a portfolio will fall. Most portfolios will fall in this area down here, because you can have certain stocks that will fall in a certain asset class like U.S. large. Let's say you have the S&P 500. That is not a maximized portfolio. Or if you have only U.S. large or maybe international large, you're going to fall somewhere in this area down here with your portfolio. If you have a well-diversified portfolio, you can control the amount of risk by the amount of fixed income versus equities in the portfolio. So if your example, if you have 75% fixed income in it, i.e. Treasury, short term, less than 5 years, and you have 25% in equities, maybe that 25% equities would be the S&P 500. If so, you're going to fall somewhere below this line, but in this area, in here. But you're not going to be on the Markowitz efficiency frontier. Why? Because this does not optimize a portfolio, the S&P 500. So, what would? A portfolio that has U.S. small value, international small value, emerging markets small value, international large value, U.S. large value, all these different areas of the market, instead of having just U.S. large, will help to get closer to this line. And mathematically, how much of each one of these asset classes needs to be in that portfolio to hit that line? If we had 50% U.S. large, would that get us on this line? Probably not. Maybe we only need 7.5% or 10%. But mathematically, these percentages based on the risk of each one of these asset classes, you can put it together in order to hit this line, or to be very close to it. And then, if you have a 95% equities versus with a 5% fixed income, your expected return should be up in this area. S&P 500, you're falling short of the line, but you can see your risk is out here very close to what a 95% equity portfolio would be. Of course, this is 100% equities. But you're still leaving return on the table because you aren't maximizing your return. So what you could do is say, okay, I will accept this level of return, but I want to reduce my risk. So if you optimize the portfolio, it might be 50% fixed income and 50% equities in a diversified portfolio that will get you to this point. So it may be better for you to be able to sleep at night with 50% fixed income and 50% equities, because you would have could have the same return, very similar return to what the S&P was, without all the volatility in it. Or you could say, I have no problem with this level of volatility out here. Maybe I'm young enough that it doesn't matter. I can sleep at night either way because I know long term where I'm going to be. then you can say, okay, if I optimize this portfolio and get out of just the S&P 500, then I can pick up this extra amount of return in the portfolio and have the same level of risk. How? Because I'm optimizing or maximizing my risk and return. It's kind of like driving a car. Your car will run from point A to point B at a certain speed that's most effective, that's optimized for that car. It might be 55 miles an hour. And if you maintain 55, you'd fall on some efficiency frontier, so to speak. But you drive at 100, okay, your risk or gas usage in this case would be way out here, okay, so your cost is going to be lower. I mean, it's going to cost you more to go at 100 miles an hour because you've reduced your efficiency. Same thing with the S&P 500. You have reduced your efficiency in your portfolio. With a lot of the mutual funds out there, they're all own the same stocks, even if you have 4 or 5 funds. You might be S&P 500. Maybe you have international, and that, if the risk is similar or the same, you're still not where you need to be. If you're underperforming by 2% per year in 20 or 30 years, that's about 50% difference. This needs to be looked at. Now, if you're one of our clients, the portfolios are designed to fall on this efficiency frontier. We don't change it, we keep it, we rebalance it, we don't change the mix, because if we change the mix, we're moving off this frontier somewhere. We're reducing our expected return. That's why we follow Harry Markowitz's efficiency frontier, so that we have a way of optimizing the portfolio.